Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. Welcome to this RF01, a little bit more in-depth review compared to the one I did with Henrik, where we tried all the rackets in the lineup. This is the middle ground racket, the racket that will suit most players, intermediate to advanced. You need good mechanics, good footwork, because the sweet spot is not huge. It's a very dense string bed, especially in the center, opens up a lot more progressively here towards the edges for a bit of off-center hits, a bit more forgiveness there. Still not forgiving. You need to have good tennis to play with this frame. But if you do, if you like Roger, if you want to play like Roger, if you want to take the ball early, have a penetrating slice, good volleys, finish the point at the net, this racket delivers. It might need a little bit of weight added to it for tad better stability, a little bit higher swing weight. I went around 3 to 4 grams at 10 and 2. I thought those positions, since I hit a little bit higher up in the string bed, most people do these days, works better, gives it the racket more stability, more power, then becomes overall a great frame. But you need to string this one low. I said it in the previous review and I really stand by it. So this racket, the RF01, the 300 gram version, is a confusing one for many. I think I've seen a lot of these on sale in the Tennis Nerd Facebook group, where there's a lot of rackets for sale, used rackets. People try it for 1 hour. I always say don't try it for 1 hour, give it more time, try different strings, different tensions, different customization. And this racket is not going to be a home run straight away. You're going to have to tweak it. It's an interesting racket in that sense. It has a strong personality, lots to like, lots to dislike. For some, I really like it, but on and off I'm playing well with it. I'm not 100% sure what to think at times, but it's a racket I do enjoy playing with, and I can see why some strong players that try this racket with me, like Sean here.
As I played with the RF300 again this time, today that was my favourite racket. Strung at 18 kilos.
Yep.
But probably dropped to now around 15.
Yeah, it's like 16. Started maybe at 35, 36 pounds in talking pounds, and now it's really down. But with the dense string pattern, the 98 screen, like the control, like launch angle you get, you managed to really control the ball well.
Yeah, I think with a little bit of lead, I put 10 and 2 to help maybe with the twist weight a bit. Because of the softer string bed, it pocketed the ball so nicely. I felt like I could maneuver, place, volley, serve. For me as a coach, I need a racket that does everything. And I feel like for me, if I'm gonna purchase, it would definitely be the 300 for me, because I can chuck a little customization, loosen up the strings, can play, can hit, can feed mini red, can play future pros if you like. It's a racket I believe that actually could work for me. This could be the racket. But yeah, I still do like the heavier ones, but I mean, you got to play. I think I can get used to this, but I think straight off the cuff, I'm going with the 300 for sure.
Also, pocketing, low reflex. This one has a crisp stiffness. It's not going to be the most arm friendly.
Again, if you can adjust, but off the cuff, I pick it up, I can play. Done. You have to get used to that a little bit, start hitting a bit cleaner, maybe chipping it a little bit more. Whereas with this, I felt I could just guide the ball. Drop shot, slice, coming into the net. It just felt a lot more controlled, a lot more, for me anyway.
Like I said in my first review with Henrik, this racket is going to be the choice for most players who want to get an RF racket, because this is just in the between. You can customize or you can play it as it is. You can go preferably lower in tension with this one, because it's very dense string bed, so the lower tension will help, the pocketing will help you get a bit more lift on the ball. Or Sergio. Wilson tried something a little bit different with this frame, and they did a good job overall, but it's not very forgiving. The sweet spot is rather small, and you get a bit more plushness, a longer dwell time with a racket like the Blade 98. That is more muted, a little bit more dampening in that, but it's easier to use and will suit a bigger audience than the RF rackets. The RF rackets are very specific, a very direct, raw feel, kind of a strong sensation of like the graphite, not so much tech involved in this racket, kind of a raw frame, which makes sense if it's like a Roger racket. But yeah, you're gonna expect like a racket that gives you what you put into it, but you have to really put in and swing big and go for your shots. Then this racket delivers very nice at the net, but it's a demanding frame and it doesn't give you that like ease of use that maybe a Blade does, I would say. So it's a little bit more demanding than that. But if you like these types of racket, these kind of more like old school meets new school, because of the elliptical shape, the slightly thicker beam, but the smaller sweet spot feels kind of old school in a way. But definitely something you should demo and give some time. But because at a low tension, I really like it. I think it plays great. But any high tensions with the wrong string, it takes a little bit away from the racket. So just wanted to point that out, and I hope you enjoyed the review. I'm not going to be yapping a lot more about the RF rackets, but I thought since they're so hyped up and people talk about them, they sell them, they buy them, I thought this review was warranted.
Very, very nice sweet spot, quite generous, the sweet spot.
Yeah. Nice.
Easy to manipulate. Oof. Very aerodynamic. It's a racket that I could play with it and I wouldn't have to take 1 month, 2 months to adapt. Easy power, good feeling. I love it. And the slice also, yeah, easy slice. Oof. I would volley better with this one than with my racket. No.
Qué buena.
Now.
Uka buka.
Nice. Yeah. You can feel the sweet spot and you can feel that the racket is alive.
Yep.
And so it's the ball is staying in the racket and it's throwing it.
Yep.
Very nice.
No.
Yes. Coming. Yes. Yeah, so 20 years before this one,
Yeah.
and now present moment, this is the one.
Yeah. Nordic Dots 127, the top spin string, strung it down at 35 pounds. I tried all the power, I tried all kinds of strings, up to 51, 53 pounds. You have to go a bit lower, and I really felt like that's when you have most room to maneuver the rackets well and give it a bit more shape and give also the racket a bit bigger sweet spot. So low tension, a little bit of weight, then it's like the most user-friendly Roger racket yet. You can play like a Roger, you can feel like a Roger, you can look like a Roger. Obviously, it's not gonna be as rock solid as the RF Pro, but it's gonna be a good stick and easier to use, more forgiving to maneuver. So definitely my #1 choice of the RF rackets. You can check out my RF Pro review, the comparison with the RF Autograph if you want. If you're not sure which one to get this one with the option to customize it with a slightly lower flex. I think you'll thank me later. Just think this is a bit more user-friendly and forgiving and a more fun racket to use, to be fair. Although the RF Pro is good for a very small specific target group. So check out the RF01, one of the better rackets for control, for attacking players on the market. So well done Wilson for actually making a very user-friendly Roger frame. We will see how it does in the sales. Usually the RF Pro will sell because people want the Roger frame, but this one I think is the best one of the bunch. You can get 10% off if you buy it from Tennis Warehouse Europe using the code TNERD10, or just from Tennis Warehouse or Tennis Only, no discount sadly. You can send a small commission to Tennis Nerd, so big thanks for that. Links in the description. That's it for this review. Have a nice day and don't forget to play some tennis.